Some people ask if scientists are hiding a controversial human ancestor. It's a big question. It sounds like something from a movie, but the real story of how we find out about our past is a lot more complex. It's not about hiding, it's about working hard, it's about finding tiny clues, and it's about arguing over what those clues mean. That's how science works. Think about it this way. Imagine you lose your car keys in a giant dark field. You might find one key, then you spend years looking for the rest. Someone might say, "Why aren't you telling us where the other keys are?" But you just haven't found them yet. Or maybe you found a key, but you're not sure if it's your key. You need to check it very carefully. Our human family tree is like that. It's a huge branching thing. And we only have tiny pieces of it. These pieces are fossils, they are bones. Sometimes they are just teeth. We find them in dirt, we find them in caves. And it takes a lot of time and effort. It takes a lot of money too. So when people talk about a controversial ancestor, what does that mean? In science, controversy is often a good thing. It means people are debating. They are looking at the evidence from different angles. It means new ideas are being tested. It does not mean someone is keeping secrets. It means smart people are disagreeing. They are trying to figure out the truth. They are checking each other's work. Let's look at some examples. These are real stories. They show how hard it is to put our past together, and they show how open the scientific process really is. One ancestor that caused a lot of talk is Homo naledi. This discovery was big. It happened in South Africa. Scientists found bones deep inside a cave system. This cave was very hard to get into. You had to be small, you had to be brave, you had to squeeze through tiny gaps. It took a team of very small women scientists to get the bones out. They called them underground astronauts. So, was Homo naledi hidden? No. The finding was announced to the world. It was a huge event. There were many news stories, but the bones were found in a place that was almost impossible to reach. And it took a long time to dig them out. It took even longer to study them. What made Homo naledi controversial? Its brain was small, it was, about the size of an orange, but the bones suggested it walked upright. It had human like hands. And the biggest surprise is where they found the bodies. They were deep inside the cave. It looked like they put their dead there on purpose. This is a behavior we usually link with much bigger brained humans, like us. Or like Neanderthals. This discovery challenged old ideas. It made scientists think differently. Could a small brained ancestor have complex behaviors? This was a big debate. Some scientists were skeptical. They asked many questions. They wanted more proof. This is how science works. You present evidence. Other scientists question it. They try to find flaws, they try to find other explanations. This is not hiding. This is critical thinking. This is how science moves forward. It's a tough process, but it makes the findings stronger. Another example is Homo floresiensis. People call this the Hobbit. These bones were found on an island in Indonesia. They were very small. The adults were only about 3 feet tall. And they had small brains too, but they made stone tools, and they hunted small elephants. This was also a huge surprise. When The Hobbit was first announced, some scientists did not believe it. They said it must be a modern human. They thought it was someone who had a disease. A disease that made their head small, and their body small. This was a very strong disagreement. Yes, it went on for years. Scientists looked at the bones again and again. They used different methods. They compared them to many other fossils. And over time, most scientists agreed. The Hobbit was a separate species. It was a real, distinct human ancestor. It was not a diseased modern human. Again, was this hidden? No. The discovery was shouted from the rooftops. The debate was public. Scientists wrote papers. They argued at conferences. They used every piece of evidence they had. The controversy was about interpretation. It was about what the evidence meant. It was not about secrecy. It was about solving a puzzle. A very difficult puzzle. Then there are the Denisovans. This one is really interesting. We mostly know about Denisovans from their DNA, not from full skeletons. Scientists found a tiny finger bone and a few teeth in a cave in Siberia. From these small pieces, they got ancient DNA. This DNA showed a new type of human, one that was different from Neanderthals and different from us. This was a new way to find an ancestor. It wasn't about finding a whole skeleton, it was about genetics, and it showed that early humans mixed. Our ancestors met Denisovans, and they had children together. Many people today have a little bit of Denisovan DNA, especially people from parts of Asia and Oceania. How could you hide something known through DNA sequencing? The data is shared. Other scientists can look at it. They can check it. This is the opposite of hiding. It's about sharing information very widely and about using new technologies to learn about the past. Why do people get the idea that things are hidden? Sometimes it's because science is slow. It takes time to find fossils. It takes time to dig them up carefully. It takes time to clean them. It takes time to study them. And it takes time to write about them. Then other scientists need time to read the papers. They need time to think about them. They need time to check the work. This is a long process. It's not instant. And scientists use difficult words. They talk about things like morphology or phylogeny. These words are specific. They help scientists be very precise, but they can sound like jargon to other people. It can make it seem like they are talking in code, but they are just using the tools of their trade. Like a carpenter uses special names for different types of wood joints. Also, the media plays a role. News stories often want big headlines. They want drama. So, a scientific debate might be reported as a war or a secret. This isn't usually true. It's just scientists doing their job. They are pushing the boundaries of what we know. And sometimes that means they disagree strongly. Some people also believe in conspiracy theories. They think there is a secret group of scientists, a group that is trying to hide things. But think about how science works. It's a global effort. Thousands of scientists work on human evolution. They work in different countries, they work at different universities, they have different ideas, and they compete for funding. They want to be the first to find something new, and they want to be famous for it. If someone found something truly earth-shattering, they would want to publish it. They would want to tell everyone, they would want the credit. Hiding it would be the worst thing they could do for their career. It doesn't make sense. The system is set up for sharing and for openness, not for hiding. What about the idea of a missing link? This phrase is old, and it's not how scientists think anymore. It suggests there's one single fossil out there, one fossil that connects apes to humans in a straight line. But evolution is not a straight line. It's a messy, branching bush. There were many different types of early humans. They lived at the same time. Some died out. Some led to us. There isn't one simple missing link to find. There are thousands of missing branches, and we find new ones all the time. Sometimes access to fossils is limited. This is not about hiding either. Fossils are very rare. They are very fragile. They can be damaged easily, so they need to be protected. They are often kept in secure labs or museums. Only trained experts can handle them. And even then, they might only be allowed to study them for a limited time. This is to make sure the fossils last for future generations and for future study. This is conservation, not hiding. Also, some countries have strict rules about their national heritage. If a fossil is found in Ethiopia, for example, it belongs to Ethiopia. Scientists from other countries might be allowed to study it, but they have to follow the rules. They can't just take it away, and this can slow down research. But it's fair. It respects the laws of the country where the discovery was made. Think about the sheer amount of work involved. When a new fossil is found, it's not just put on display right away. First, it needs to be carefully cleaned. Dirt and rock can be stuck to it for millions of years. This takes huge patience and skill. One wrong move and a priceless piece of evidence can be destroyed. Then the fossil needs to be documented. Every tiny detail is noted. Measurements are taken. Photographs are made. Sometimes 3D scans are done. This creates a permanent record. It also allows other scientists to study the fossil without actually touching it. This is important for those who can't travel to see the original. After that, the long process of analysis begins. Scientists compare the new fossil to thousands of other fossils. They look at its shape. They look at its size. They look for specific features. Does it have a brow ridge? How big are its teeth? What does its pelvis tell us about how it walked? These are all very detailed questions. They take a lot of time to answer. Then comes the interpretation. What does this fossil tell us about evolution? Does it fit into an existing species, or is it a new species? Does it change our understanding of the human family tree? This is where the controversy often starts. One scientist might see it one way. Another might see it differently. They might have different theories, they might interpret the same features in different ways. This kind of debate is absolutely essential for good science. It makes sure that conclusions are well supported. Make sure that all possible explanations are considered. It's a healthy part of the scientific process. It weeds out weaker ideas. It strengthens stronger ones. There are many times in history when scientific understanding has changed. For example, Neanderthals. For a long time, people thought Neanderthals were dumb brutes. They were seen as clumsy, not very smart, but new discoveries changed this view. We found evidence that they buried their dead, they used tools, they made art. They cared for their sick and elderly. They even wore jewelry, and we know now that they interbred with our ancestors. This means they were much more like us than we first thought. Was the old view of Neanderthals hidden? No, it was just the best understanding we had at the time. With new evidence, our understanding evolved. That's what science does. It learns, it changes its mind, it gets closer to the truth. Sometimes discoveries are just hard to publish. It's a very competitive field. Because journals want groundbreaking findings, they want things that will get a lot of attention. And sometimes a discovery might be interesting, but not big enough to be published in a top journal right away. Or it might need more work before it's ready. This is a common challenge for scientists. It's not about hiding, it's about the publishing world. And think about the money involved. Scientific research is expensive. Digs cost a lot. Lab analysis costs a lot. To travel to conferences costs a lot. Scientists spend a huge amount of their time applying for grants. They have to convince funding agencies that their work is important. They have to show that they will share their findings. If they were hiding things, they wouldn't get funded. So, when you hear whispers about hidden ancestors, remember these things. Remember the Homo naledi cave. Remember the fierce debate over the Hobbit. Remember the DNA evidence of Denisovans. These are not stories of secrecy. They are stories of discovery. They are stories of hard work. And they are stories of open debate. The human story is still being written. We have learned so much, but there is still so much we don't know. Every year, new fossils are found. New technologies help us understand old ones better. Our family tree is getting more detailed. It's also getting more complicated. This complexity is beautiful. It shows us that evolution is not a simple path. It shows us that our past is rich. It is full of different kinds of humans. All trying to survive. All even tiny clues for us to find. Scientists are not hiding anything. They are working very hard. They are trying their best. They are showing us our past. One fragile bone at a time. And they are doing it out in the open. They argue. They debate. They test. That is how they find the truth. And that is a good thing.